Hey there, everyone in the FFBE Global Facebook group. I'm here today with news that some of us have been fearful was coming. And as you can see on the screen right over here, we have an announcement about the end of service for FFBE. Understandably, many of us are going to be experiencing a wide range of feelings about this news, and the admins and moderators of this group want to support you as best as we can as we face the final days of FFBE. And to facilitate that process, I'm here now to share a few things with you. Number one is this video. Without knowing the full details of what was going to happen in terms of the end of service, the admins and the mods in the group have gotten together to put together a message of nostalgia, appreciation, and hope for the future. There's a special emphasis on what this group has meant to all of us, and we'd love it if you could take some time to watch it. I know the video is long, but the message is heartfelt, and I hope you will appreciate it. Number two, we also want to provide you with a space to grieve, and at this time, we're not going to approve a massive number of posts about the end of the game. Instead, we would like you to share messages in the comments of this video, whether that's here in the group or in the comment section on YouTube. If you have something positive to say, negative to say, something to share, here is where we would like you to do it. That said, number three, we're also going to be providing you with a memes and memories mega thread where we want you to drum up old memories, screenshots, hilarious images you've created or shared about FFBE, and we want to keep that positive as much as we can and family friendly, of course, but we want you to use that mega thread once it posts later today. For now, though, take a listen to what some of the mods and the admins have had to say. Hey there, everybody in the FFBE Global Facebook group. We're here to talk about some good times and some memories. And when I say we, of course, I'm talking about a handful of your what we call the Mog Team, your admin team here in the Global Facebook group. And I've got a handful of us here. We're going to take a couple minutes to to say hello and then talk about some fun times and some things that we're dealing with right now. But we wanted to take a minute to just reach out to all of you, as the Facebook community, and in part say thank you, and in part say talk a little bit about what all of this has meant to us as your moderators. And so we're here to do that. And I'll just go ahead and start us off. Here in the Facebook group, you guys know me as Garrett. You guys know me as Gert84, maybe on YouTube or Twitch. I'm gonna embarrass her here. With MK's approval, got into this whole thing, the Mog team, just to do the Ask an Old Mog series, and it's been really, really powerful and meaningful to me to do that with you guys. So I appreciate everybody who has ever watched a video or clicked on a link or made a comment. I just really appreciate all the support from you guys, and support from all the mods as well, the mods and the admins. And so with that, I'm just gonna say thank you, and I'm gonna move on to my that way, and say, Barry, go ahead and say hello.
All right, what's going on, guys? If any of you have watched Garrett's videos over the last couple years, my name is not necessarily new, but this is Darren, aka dberry17. I've actually been a part of the Mog team since, I never remember if it's late 2018 or early 2019, but I gained MK and Peachy's, I guess, notice back when Ong first came out, and we got a 7-star subsequently. And for whatever reason, Ong is basically the only reason why I have kind of gained any notoriety in this group. So for anybody who's ever told me to shut up about Ong over the last 4 years of me asking for a Neo, this is the reason why. But I mean, it's weird to think how much has just happened in that 5-6 year stretch. To think of where the game was versus where it's come, where it is now ultimately, while it's if we're finally getting to that place that we all knew we'd get to eventually. It's been a wild ride for sure.
Absolutely. And it would not be fair to talk about this wild ride without giving Elytra a chance to say hello and talk as well. So right down here, super excited to have her here on a video for the very first time with me. Hello.
Hello, and thank you for having me. So, gosh, I first of all, I am really proud and supportive of the current admin team. This group was founded over 8 years ago. When FFBE was still really new, and I was part of the founding team. And then when all the other admins left, I was the main admin up until end of 2017, which is when I joined Square. So while I did help get the group started, get it growing, I consider the current admin team to be the team that really gave the group its wings. That, we have Garrett and with the Ask a Mog, but to be the subject matter experts, and Darren, like he's everywhere. I remember back in the days when, and I'm sorry if I'm rambling here, but back in the early days of FFBE, the communities were very siloed from each other. The Facebook people didn't necessarily interact with Reddit or the streamers or content creators, but then I feel like with our current team was when we would see the connections forming. Darren's always featured with Sinzar and Garrett's streaming, and then MK Ultra is really good at networking with everybody. So really proud and supportive. Happy to be here as a guest. And with that said, I think I'm going to turn it over to MK Ultra.
Absolutely. There she is.
Hi, hi Kupo. I am not crying. I'm good. I'm really excited that Elytra's here because she was kind of who I looked up to, her, and then she made Maria and Jonathan admins too, and they're the ones that brought me onto the team. And I kind of went solo for a bit, like in 2019, and was able to kind of recruit some of my own people that I thought would help the community, like Garrett. So I'm so grateful that I made so many great friends. And sorry.
It's okay. These are these kind of conversations, right?
Yeah. I'm getting over a cold too, so I apologize. I'm already going to be congested and gross. But anyway, I did want to make sure that the global team, the global community on Facebook knows how much it's been a joy for me to interact and, add friends and ban bad people and laugh with other people and just kind of joke and be happy and merry.
Yeah.
And it's been a ride, So 8 years, that's the longest. Personally, damn it. You're gonna have to just cut this all out in post.
I'll just go from here. How about that? So in addition to those of us that we have here, there are of course other admins and mods that couldn't be here tonight to talk about all this with us. I'm going to give them a chance to record some messages and share those with us that I'll edit into this video a little later. But rest assured that they are a diligent and active subgroup of people that care about the community that we've tried to foster. And so I want to take a little bit to just talk about the community, talk about like our group and what impact this has had on all of you guys, if you could. And I'll go first. I'll just say that like I joined the global Facebook group because my best friend at the time, who was playing FFBE with me, stopped playing and I needed somebody to help out with like active current friends and things like that. And so like I had never really bothered to join or like make friends with the people that I was friends with. I was just like grabbing random strong friends and like adding them and hoping that they would accept my request, you know. And so me joining the group was trying to connect to other players to be able to have a conversation. Say, hey, I'm trying to beat this boss. Can I get a friend who's set up like this or whatever? Especially because like for me, who was free to play for like the large majority of the game, just didn't have the units that you needed to do stuff. And so for me, it was about like just being able to play in an efficient way. And it became a lot more. It became an avenue for me to connect with other people in lots of different ways. And so all of a sudden I've got, you know, friends on my Facebook that are just connected to me through this, who care about things that I'm doing, even though they don't like know it, or they know it has nothing to do with the game. And so it's been an interesting ride. I've gotten a look into people's lives, and it's just been really neat to be a part of it, not to mention everything else. And like when it comes to like, you know, the Ask an Old Mog stuff and the YouTube stuff, like that's a whole other animal. But like just like being connected and like being able to rant about something that I care about and have other people be like, yeah, that makes sense, you know, it's been a lot of fun. But what about you guys? Like, what impact has this community had for you, or do you see it having on the game itself?
Oh man, that's such a long answer with so many possibilities. You know, I can't even truly remember what brought me to the group way back when. I've this may surprise some of you. I'm very much introverted, and even when I first joined the group, I was pretty much a lurker. I just kind of watched the stuff people posted, and every now and again I'd type up a comment of something and then naturally just delete it entirely. And it wasn't until gosh, I think it was Blossom Sage Sakura's banner was the first time that I had a unit that I would say was considered quote unquote strong relative to what people were looking for. Now, mind you, again, at the time, this was 6-star Sakura with a whopping 700 magic. So, it was great back in the day. And for me, that was roughly the point where people started to want to add me in game. And then, of course, Ong comes along. I mean, I'm one of the few Lordless Heathens who was a Tidus main who could actually manually chain quick hit. And so that's just what I did back then, because that's all I ever had. And as time has come on, I mean, I became much more willing to put myself out there, to actually make comments. God, if you had told Darren in 2017 that his voice would be in YouTube videos that may or may not ever get deleted for the entire remaining history of the internet, I'd probably laugh and then go have a panic attack in the corner. And so just to see really what the community has grown into has been so humbling in so many ways. You know, to watch people go who could barely stand each other commenting to now you see them interact reasonably cordially all the time because of a mobile game. To think that, I mean, I'm one of the people fortunate enough, I've met Elytra in person. Some of the people on the admin team I've gotten to meet in person. I got to go to one of their weddings. I mean, you hear people talk at length about the concept of internet friends becoming real friends, and you hear it and you're like, yeah, that's pretty cool. I get that if I played those kinds of games, that'd be great. And now here I am, all of a sudden I've been playing one of those games for 8 years, and I've gotten to make real life friends and real connections with people who there's a far greater chance that I never would have ever been able to meet or interact with. And I owe it all to a game that, you know, may or may not, as history unfolds, you know, deserve to be as deified in my life as it is, but here it is. Because I honestly can't even imagine, you know, mentally or emotionally where I'd be if not for the people who I've met over the last 8 years.
Thank you for
So
that.
I would like to just say that it is all about the friends we made along the way, right?
Don't you season 3 me, power of friendship?
It is the power of friendship, and yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Very cool. What about you, Elytra?
I'm sorry, I'm a little distracted by my kitties. Um, wow, I don't even similar to what Darren was saying. It's just like, where do I even begin? That to me, you know, even when the game had its ups and downs, the community was always really like it was always kind of there to like there for people, um and I don't really talk about this very much, but there were times, my experience working for Square, I did encounter like issues with workplace bullying, and have not really shared that with many people because that's just something I always kept to myself mostly. But there were periods when the community, whether it was Facebook, or Reddit, that they were really, supportive and there for me, like more than I can really even express. That I tried to advocate. And so when you ask, what has the group been? Well, behind the scenes, I always did try to represent the opinions that were shared within the group. That I would take quotes. What are people saying? What are the, what posts are being upvoted? I really wanted to share sentiments, and I did try to represent the communities, because I know the Square Enix employees would really just focus on Reddit only, because that was public.
Right.
And I wanted to show more representation. Like, look, the Reddit community is huge, but there are some Facebook groups that are also huge. And, there were Facebook users who didn't go into Reddit and vice versa. So I felt like there had to be some balanced representation to really get a sense of how the community felt. Because there were some times when, Reddit might feel one way and then the Facebook groups would feel another way. And so I would always, of course, cite the my sources and say, look, these are what the group is saying. So that, that was what happened a little behind the scenes. But as far as, making friends, definitely I feel the same way. That I feel like I've made lifelong friends. And I actually have a funny story about Darren, because when I met him at the FFBE meetup, that there was somebody there who was having trouble with a trial, and Darren just like, oh, here, I'll help you with that, and then did the training just on the spot, like no
Awesome.
practicing, just did it and beat it. And then that person had been struggling with that trial for a long time and was just so thrilled to have that help. And I mean, this was years ago, but that's still how I remember, like.
Yeah. And we're kind of segueing a little bit into memories, and that sounds like a memory high. I would say, being able to witness like the community in action and see somebody helping somebody else, and especially being at like an in-person event where where you've got a potential for that interaction. And I would say that a high for me was definitely going to the fan event in LA most recently. That they did in person, which was for me, I'm just going to say a life-changing event, as strange as that might seem. Without going too heavily into detail, I would say that this group has been a place where I could go and be myself when I needed to be myself, and just get a little social buzz, when I needed a little support or a little nudge. And being able to go and meet people and thank people and be a part of that in person was huge for me. So that's one of my top memories. Gonna be one of my top memories of over 8 years of playing, would be going to the fan event. But what are some tops for you guys? And it can be anything. It can be community stuff. It can be I beat this trial. It can be whatever. What are some high memories, or even, yeah, we'll stick with the highs for right now.
I've got a.
Oh, no,
Sorry, go ahead.
No, please. If your voice is doing it, do it.
Do it.
Okay, thank you. So for me, it's definitely the 2018 Long Beach Fan Fest. That's where I met Olivia. I think it was the first time, and then a second time in San Francisco. I might have gotten those backwards. And then of course last year, last June at the meetup that we were hanging out at. Shout out to Flip, HK, Darth, Diane, who helped me with the trial at that fan fest, by the way.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
It was, yeah, I can't remember the trial. I think, I don't want to say. I don't want you making fun of me. Anyway, it was, I mean, those events, they're otherworldly, you know, and yes, it's definitely a social buzz. That was the first time I had like done anything since the pandemic. So for me, it was a little scary, but also exhilarating, and I will never forget it. It was great. And yeah, the couple times that I met Olivia was great. Got to hang out with her in Long Beach 2018, and then we've just been friends, you know, for so many years with the group and everything. And she sent me the global shirts and the pins, you know, that I got to give out at the last fan event. And yeah, as far as in-game highlights for my personal self, I would have to talk about Dark Reign.
I knew that was coming.
And
I knew it was coming.
He totally has nipples under that strap. You just gotta, like, you know, they're hidden. It's not that he doesn't have them. They're just hidden. He's so beautiful, you know, no spoilers or anything, but if I could have changed Dark Reign. I'm just saying. He was my favorite character, I think. And other than Esther, of course. Esther is the GOAT. So, yeah. But yeah, long story short, too late, sorry. Basically, the last 8 years has been full of highs and happiness, and it's always the place I'd rather be than dealing with, you know, adult or real life problems, usually. So I thank you guys for, you know, hanging out with me all these years, and to the members in our global group, I really love you guys, and I think we can keep going for a bit, you know, with memes and memories and stories. And
absolutely.
Just, yeah, remember the good times.
Okay.
Was...
So, oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No, please. You unmuted and everything. I can talk forever. Don't worry about me.
All right, if you insist. So, something that I always really enjoyed was seeing, you know, anytime, like starting with the first Fan Festa in the US, in New York, you know, when we had people from the group who actually were represented, you know, if they like appeared in a picture somewhere, or you know, anything, like if they won a prize, that I really enjoyed kind of giving those shout outs. You know, some specific examples is you know, Cornelius, who did the pixel, like the bead art, and then actually like had that artwork featured in the official FFBE updates videos, like in the background. Like, always was really proud of that. But then even seeing like the fan art submissions, if they were in the group and then they got featured in the videos, or even, you know, when they post on the FFBE page and they win their drawings, like that still happens. And I love seeing that hype, you know, when they're genuinely, just to get that. I feel like it's just exciting to see the participation from the community, but then to see, you know, hey, I recognize them from the group, and there they are.
Very cool.
Okay, I guess I'll talk now. Don't twist my
Now
arm.
it's your time.
All right. So first and foremost, that trial, I have that memory is so vivid in my brain to this day. Scorn of Bloody Moon, 7 stars had just come out. Transterra just got hers. I picture his face and like everything about him perfectly, but for whatever reason, cannot remember his name, and I apologize if you're listening to this and recall this. Um, but I had him add me in game so that I could set him a friend Transterra. Took it in, and like at the time, just because again, I was a manual quick hit chainer. Took his phone and manual Chaos Wave Awaken chained back in the day, which was just such a hard thing because of the timing. It was so weird. Still will never be as difficult to me as dual wield AR chaining, but that's conversations for another time. That was such a nightmare forever. But so that was such a good time, and just watching the look on Elytra's face, it's just kind of, it was like a combination of admiration and, oh god, what hell did you go through to be able to do this manually with no practice right now whatsoever. It was great. It was super fun. But other than that, I mean, I've always been a big proponent of the original lore in this game. Between me and Ginty Yang, like we have an open Discord chat right now just on stuff that we've talked about over the last, I don't know, 6 to 9 months probably. Um, and I'll bring this up again later because lore is a sore spot for me in a lot of ways. But I've loved watching how the original stories came together, and there's such incredible stories that have been told in FFBE that really they belong in this long storied list of great Final Fantasy stories as a whole. I mean, the Lunera and Bran and Ruggles event is still to this day just burned into my mind forever as one of the most short form, captivating pieces of storytelling that I've ever been a part of in any way, shape, or form. Um, Anything that's ever had to do with Esther and Sylvie, especially because other than Ong, Sylvie is and will always be my favorite unit in the game. Soul's story and how he came about, both of the first 2 seasons of the game, which again, each of those first 2 seasons, I think, really do belong in the conversation for just good Final Fantasy games by themselves, because the storytelling was and is still just so impactful in its ability to leave a mark on you, and even when you put your phone down, you still think about this later because of how well done it's been over the last 8 years, season 3 excluded. And it's just there's just been so many great memories. I mean, getting to meet people, albeit digitally, like Clake, and people like Sinzar and Gonzi, and just the things that I've gotten to do with people who I would consider quote unquote internet famous has just been it's been so interesting. And again, none of it would have even been possible without this game and what it has been able to do. And so yeah, there's some great memories that we could talk about. And the game itself is phenomenal. And I mean, we've got 8 years worth of things that we could bring up that we could talk about at length. I don't really want to beat the dead horse.
Yeah. If you had to pick
Because
one low,
I could do a whole spin-off series. One low.
One low. Everybody gets one low. You could. This is
Sure.
your moment. You get to say one low.
The complete abandonment of precursors. It was potentially the most interesting thing that they could have ever built story about. There are some of the most incredible units that were a part of precursors, and yet we got absolutely nothing about them in any way, shape, or form ever. And I will never be okay with that because of who the units were, the fact that they had timekeepers built in with them. Like, there was what they did with the fundamental forces units could have been done in spades with the precursors, and it would have been such an interesting story to learn more about, and we got nothing for it. I've never been so teased in my life with something that could have been fun and that I will literally never ever ever get to experience outside of my own headcanon.
I can appreciate that. I think.
I have two.
Go ahead, and then yeah,
She
Sorry,
said you get one,
you get one.
I have two.
ma'am.
Oh, come on, man. The first one obviously is everything that's happened in 2024 so far. That's
Okay.
obviously a huge low. The other one for me is the Facebook outages, which affected
Oh.
me both times. So those were days that I lost my daily login streak, which luckily I was able to restore by begging Gumi. Like, come on, this isn't my fault. Let me talk to your manager. I mean, I didn't say that, but they did. They did end up restoring that, and yeah, like one of the times it was like a whole week, and it was heartbreaking. And yes, I have addiction issues when it comes to FFBE, so when I can't just go and like do my dailies, it's weird, man. I don't know what I'm gonna do. It's weird. Okay, I'll shut up. I'm sorry. Go ahead. What?
Wow, I wish so I was still working for Square Enix when the first Apple outage happened. And I feel like I can say this now, but back then I kind of had to just go along with what was
Right.
happening. So there wasn't enough transparency about the situation because I remember back then they were saying, well, Apple banned FFBE because they wouldn't share the drop rates. Like, do you guys remember that?
Mm-hmm.
I
That
do.
was the
Yep.
rumor. And I couldn't actually say anything, but it wasn't that. Like, FFB, like the team, they had already been planning to publish the rates. Like, they weren't even trying to hide them. It was just a matter of the timing of getting it published. But it was totally on Apple because the dev team, like, they did everything. It went through, it got approved, and it was just pushing out the game like on time, and for some reason it just Apple like didn't do it, and then the Square Enix team like couldn't get a hold of the Apple team on the US side, and it wasn't until like early morning that the FFBE team could get a hold of the Apple on the Japan side, and then they were able to kind of say, hey, we need to fix this. But of course the FFBE team, they can't say that and throw their partner under the bus.
Right.
But I was like, if we could just communicate this to the community, they wouldn't be so angry. But yeah,
Well, everybody was worried they wouldn't be able to ever get into the game again. Like there was nothing communicated, so there was a panic effect.
No, I totally understand. There was a raid going on at the time. People had spent money and they lost their raid rankings because they couldn't get into the game. So I totally understood why everyone was upset, losing their login streaks, and yeah.
So do I remember correctly? Because it's I'm drawing a blank. Was that like during the first Tomb Raider collab? Was that when we had like the Explorer Eileen and like the first Lara Croft 5-star? Was that when that was? Because I remember that being a raid.
It might have been.
I can't remember exactly what it was.
I
I remember there was an issue around then that like they actually addressed really well, and got people back in, and then like gave them stuff to compensate, and it was like one of the first big compensations that ended up working out pretty well. But that also ended up being really divisive between like Apple people and Android people.
Yep.
Yeah.
I remember that very specifically.
think it was oh god, this could be so far off. I think it was the first CG Laswell banner.
It's hard to, I can't remember. It was if it was, that was a long time ago. So either way,
Year 2, I guess.
yeah. So I would say my low, honestly, has just been polls. if you've ever been on one of my videos or streams during polls, like trying to get chow, any variety was just a nightmare for me, like every time. So definitely pulls. But this is part of the game, right? And so I try to just have fun with it on stream, but it's just the way it is. Just the way it is.
But that's also what's so great about what you do for the community is because you don't often pull those banner units, and you go in and you do a trial with all your other janky units and you still beat the content.
That has been much harder lately. I will say that.
Oh, okay, but it's been so fun to watch for the last couple of years,
I appreciate that. So what are some things going forward that you guys are going to miss, whether this is stuff related to Facebook or the game? I think one of the things I'm going to miss the most is waking up every day to decline the post of the person, and you know who you are, who posts a picture of their polls that we have told repeatedly not to do that. In the format that they posted in, and declining that every day has been a part of my morning ritual. So I'm gonna miss that.
I feel like we should just like posthumously ban him.
No,
like now.
No,
Now's the time, right?
No.
At this point, I couldn't do it.
I couldn't do it either. Yeah,
I couldn't do it at this point. We've let it slide for so long.
Fair, he also posts in the mega thread sometimes.
He does.
Which, I'm surprised, but this dude he's a treasure.
He is.
And if it's not you, it's me that catches that first thing.
I know.
So it's kind of like a race to see who gets him.
Well, and that's another really funny one that has become more of a thing lately, is between you and me. Like, I'll do something and I'll say, hey, I just did such and such, to try and address some problem. And you're like, I'm in the middle of trying to fix that right now. Way to go. Like, we're just, doing side by side modding. It's just, I'm going to miss that for sure, is like interacting with everybody, just in general. As far as the game, I'm going to miss, I think the first day without it is going to be kind of weird. Just like it was weird during Facebook outage times, like that I was hit by those as well. But like, just not doing my daily chores, not listening to news reviews on Tuesday, like it's just
for sure.
Just the kind of the routines and the rituals that I've gotten into over 8 years of playing a game, which is the longest I've ever played something like this. So I'm gonna miss just kind of like the day to day. Yeah.
I agree. And yeah, me being friends with like Sinzar, even though he doesn't know who I am really, but like I'm friends with all these people. Evil Laughter, like I had dinner with Evil Laughter. That was so fun with Olivia. So it's fine. In my head, it was, all worth it. It was all great and fun and lots of adventures with lots of friends, even though people don't know that they're my friends. But I kind of look at the people in the global group as my friends, So it's going to be a little weird. And I'm going to miss the interaction for sure.
I think you are more well known than you realize that you're, and I want to point this out because MK Ultra says we'll go to everybody's wall and write happy birthday. She is that one friend who acknowledges your birthday without fail.
True.
Like, it just, and that that means something, because it's just, she's saying, I see you and I hope you have a great day, and like just taking the time to do that. And I'm sure she has like 5,000 friends, so it takes time out of her day to do that. But for a group admin who is a genuine friend, like I don't think you should kind of put yourself down as that people don't know you.
But self-deprecation is the only thing I'm good at.
Yes, but even if you're self-deprecating, it's only because you're so good at being the ultimate real-life morale unit.
Damn it.
I'm not crying. You're crying.
Oh.
What about you, Darren? What are you gonna miss? That's fine. Whoever. Yeah.
No.
Nope, at this point I just sit here. No, it's fine. I'll just sit here quietly. Everybody else can go, because I will ramble. Great at filling time.
Yeah. Well, we still got a few more categories to go, so maybe Go for it, Elytra.
All right. Wow. I guess I'll miss the memes. That one really great thing about FFBE was a very memeable topic. I loved it when I saw myself in a meme one time. um, but wow, it's the game has been like such a huge impact for me and a lot of people, and I think it's just missing having that presence, like kind of something that was always there for the past 8 years.
Just to jump in, that I think I may have mentioned it earlier, but there is going to be a meme mega thread with classics. Garrett made one about me, which is still one of my favorites.
Yep.
But yes, I want to see the one with you, Elytra, because it'll make me feel better. But yes, I have a whole stash of memes, and they're gonna just be spammed in all the comments, so be sure to watch out for those.
I mean, we've all got our favorites, right? But how can you not love Absolute Mirror of Unexpected Circumstances?
That's great. It is great.
Unforeseen.
Yeah, unforeseen.
Oh, unforeseen. That's right. Unforeseen circumstances, right?
And the obligatory 100 lapis.
100 lapis.
Hey, better than 0 lapis.
Better than beast meat.
Yeah.
Who is also who I call Dark Rain.
Oh.
Sorry.
Too
Go
far.
ahead, Darren.
Too far. So the thing I'll miss the most is, okay, when you've played this game as long as a lot of us have, you have borderline encyclopedic knowledge of such a niche topic. And now there's all this information that is just stuck in my head, occupying space that I really could probably use for other things. And before too long, there will be absolutely no outlet for it whatsoever. And honestly, that to me, that sucks so much, because we have a community of people that you can just like lore vomit all over, or compare strategies, or optimize gear settings if you're not somebody who uses the FFBE equip page, or it's just like there's so much crap in my head. Like almost for up until probably year 6, every unit's TMR and STMR and what it did and relative modifiers, and it's all up there. And soon it will no longer have a place anywhere. And that it feels like such a big shame, because me and so many other people have just put so much effort into really trying to learn and understand every core aspect of this game to optimize things as much as we can, and now it just kind of feels like it's all for nothing. Like it's not, of course, because like the memories, but in the grand scheme of things, now it just takes up space.
Yeah.
With all 1,000+ Pokemon that are still in my head.
That's a good one. Well, I was gonna say it's the same thing with me in like 3rd edition Dungeons and Dragons, right? Like I don't need to know these things anymore. Well, that's the one that I played. I don't need to know this stuff anymore. Like, but like it's it's still up there.
Not 3.5?
Oh, I did. Yeah, I transitioned to 3.5. It's the superior edition, but yeah.
That would have made me very sad.
Oh,
Next,
no.
you would have told me it was 4E, and then we'd have a long talk.
Oh no! By the time 4E came out, I was an old man stuck in my ways. I was 25 and I wasn't changing. So
that's fair.
Yep.
That's why I play Pathfinder now instead.
Well, that's don't get me started there.
Oh, we might.
We'll have to save that one for another video. But that's a good question.
I think so.
That's a good question. So what does come next? And specifically, what comes next in the realm of gaming, right? So FFBE, of course, being a game that has taken up a lot of our time. Do any of you guys already have something that you're planning on moving on to, or that you have a goal in mind, or something that you're working on? I do.
Me.
What? Tell me.
Oh. It's the one I keep trying to recruit you guys to, called Sword of Convalaria. It's a tactics-like game. It's super cute. I have my own guild. You should join my guild.
I'm
I
trying.
yeah, so you say, but it's great. And I'm trying to, like when you go through a bad breakup, you gotta kind of hook into this new game, to try to help you get over FFBE. So I'm trying. It's not FFBE, but I am enjoying it so far. Um, and you're all welcome to join my guild.
Very good.
The end.
It's funny you say that because I remember when Opera Omnia came out.
Hmm.
In my head, I always thought that it's like Opera Omnia was the new girlfriend, and then FFBE was the ex that the players couldn't stop talking about in the Opera Omnia community.
Yes. But then Opera Omnia went away before FFBE did.
It's
Which
true.
I'm still honestly
That's
really
too
upset
bad.
about.
Yeah.
It had so much gas left in the tank.
Mhm.
So personally, I'm gonna keep streaming. I've already committed to a playthrough, my very first ever playthrough of Final Fantasy 13. That I'm
Yay!
gonna be doing eventually.
Nice.
And I'm gonna take that for a little spin. But outside of Final Fantasy, one goal that I have for myself is to I don't know if any of you have ever played Hollow Knight.
Yeah.
But I'm
Oh
planning
yeah.
on getting a I'm trying to like perfect no hit every boss.
Oh, jeez.
So that I can earn the tattoo that I'm getting next week.
It's gonna be so cool.
I'm so
I can't wait to
excited.
see it.
I'm so excited. Yeah, that's kind of what's coming next for me in the world of gaming.
And you've done like everything but the no hit clear. Like you've done everything else pretty much in
Yeah,
that game, right?
pretty much. So like the hardest thing was no deaths, 100% no deaths in under a certain number of hours. And I managed to do that in one try, which was kind of like why I was like, okay, I'm gonna get this tattoo. I'm gonna commemorate this. And so yeah, that's kind of my thing. I want to make sure I earn it though, and not just have this thing on my arm. So yeah,
I like it.
yeah.
Darren, what are you playing, Darren?
I don't know. I'm still kind of dabbling. I've picked up AFK Journey a good bit, but it's in a weird place, it seems.
Weren't you playing Wuthering
Just-
Waves too?
I tried a bit. It's so hard to play on a phone because the controls just really don't translate to a touchscreen as well as I'd like them to relative to the gameplay. I have Sword of Convalaria. I've just barely touched it. So I don't really know. From in the mobile space, there's probably going to be some stuff that I'll like dabble in now and again, but I don't suspect I'll ever fully invest into another mobile game the way that I have FFBE, be it
Yeah.
time or honestly financially. That said, I mean, I I was big in the console space for a while, just as far as the things that I liked to play. But recently, our home was hit by lightning, and it fried every electronic in my living room. So I no longer have
Oh my
any
God.
working console or a TV. So that's been a bit of a downer. But as soon as that's up and running again, I mean, not that this is, not that this particular franchise is in a good space, but I have loved Borderlands for, almost 15 years now. So that's always the game that I pick up and just kind of go back to when I feel like I have nothing else going on. I alluded to it earlier, but I'll always play Pokemon. I was big into the competitive scene back in 5th gen. I'll never do that again because that was a nightmare on my.
Did you hear about the kid
psyche.
who got disqualified in Hawaii for making an obscene hand gesture?
No, but that's hilarious and I love it.
Yeah, I'll tell you what the obscene hand gesture was later.
Beautiful. I'm love it. I'm all for it. Good for him. But no, maybe not good for him depending on what the hand gesture was. Let's amend that.
Inappropriate. Not
Yeah.
FFBE Global Facebook Group approved.
Fair enough. But no, as far as what's next for me, I honestly, I don't know. Currently, nothing. And maybe eventually there will be something else. But ultimately, this may just be my retirement from mobile gaming completely. We'll see.
What about? Elytra, were you going to say something?
No.
Okay, you lit up, so I wasn't sure. What about things outside of gaming? So what kind of grass do you plan on touching now that you're going to have free time that does not get absorbed by FFBE?
I've always been a Bermuda guy.
A Bermuda grass. Okay, yeah. I mean, that
Always.
does grow where you live.
It does, and years on a soccer field will do that too.
Yeah.
No, I mean I'm a doctor, so my hands are pretty much tied for 65, 70 hours a week. So I don't have a lot of time to even touch grass because I pretty much work in a cave. I don't know. I'll probably try to get back on the golf course a bit more often. I do live in the place in America where there are basically more golf courses than sane people. So that's always an interesting little stat.
He's not wrong. I used to work in mental health where he lives.
Yeah, it's unfortunately true, and yet and people still keep coming. I don't understand, but it's fine. I don't know. I feel like it's gonna take a little bit of detoxing to get over this one for sure.
Me, I'll probably try touching more animals in zoos, like lions and stuff. That's all.
Okay. Get out and go to there. I'm sure you've got some zoos in your area, right?
Yes, we do.
I plan to be more intentional about how I use my paid time off from work, and do more outdoorsy stuff. I want to get. I've been doing bike rides on my YouTube channel, and I want to keep doing bike rides and kayaking and caving and other kinds of fun stuff that you can do when you go outside, when you're not like tethered to Wi-Fi and cell service. And I want to just get more into that.
It's awesome.
That's great. For me, I have been focusing on actually kind of similar. I'm trying to spend more time outside, like doing yard work. I didn't really understand the appeal of like gardening, but now I kind of get it. I've been trying to cultivate like native fauna and flora, like so like planting what would attract the native pollinators.
Oh, I love that.
And just supporting that.
That's awesome.
Very, very cool. And that is actually a very good step in the grieving process, is to do things that you feel like matter to you, that feel normal and natural to you. And so like if those are things that feel good to you, playing golf, touching lions, facilitating pollination, biking, hiking, all that stuff, if that feels good to you, go do those things. As long as it's not hurting anybody, there's nothing bad about doing things that help you feel good as you're grieving, for what that's worth. So speaking of the end, right? So the end is a question, like what happens here in the global Facebook group now that things are coming to a close. And one thing I will tell you right now is that for the time being, we're planning on leaving the group open to give people chances to respond. It's like, for one thing, we want you to respond to this video and this post, to share memories just like we've been doing. We want you to have a space to do that. So the comment section of this post and this video is for you to do those kinds of things. We're not going to be doing a bunch of approvals for posts, just like we haven't been doing approvals about end of service questions and things like that. So if you want to talk about those kinds of memories, positive ones, negative ones, what you're going to miss, all that stuff, the comment section here is what that's for. But in addition to that, as MK said, we're going to start a memes and memories mega thread for people to share all kinds of good stuff, cool screenshots, the first time you ever had more than 700 magic, you know, the first time you got a rank 1, the first time you did whatever. Share away, and we want us to be you know, reliving some of that stuff together. And we're not making this group go away anytime soon, just because the game closing down. So we want to make sure that you guys all have a space to do that, and this is it. You know, we're going to share as a community because that's an important part of this process. As far as you guys, do you have anything else you want to add, or anybody that you want to say thank you to or goodbye to, as part of this? And after this is where I'm going to cut in the other mods saying what they had to say too. But do you guys have anything else that you want to add to what we've said so far?
Yeah. Just quickly, big thanks to Maria and Jonathan, who were the admins right under Olivia. They brought me on, and a whole bunch of people. A lot of people who no longer play are still honorary moderators. You know, they chat with us in our own chat. And again, like, I have made friends for life with many of these people, and to the community, of course. Thank you so much for engaging and hanging out with us for all these years. It's been a magical time, and I wish you all the best in all of your life adventures going forward. I will miss you.
Yeah, I mean, what else do you say?
Right?
That's
That-
pretty
that kinda-
succinct.
MK nailed it.
I guess the only other thing to say, for better or worse, I am grateful to Square and Gumi for, well, Gumi for porting and Square for allowing this to exist, but allowing this game to be so that we could all gather to it and form the community that we have. It's a rare experience, truly, to find a space in the internet where you can feel so just accepted and belonged for a shared interest. I've never, prior to this group, there's nobody in my personal actual life who has at any time played FFBE. So this has always just been a me thing. And as Garrett has said many times in videos, it's the greatest single player game that I play with other people. And without, I mean, for all their faults or otherwise, without Gumi and Square creating this, and Alim, of course, you know, this would have never been, and we would never have these memories. And while it was really quite sad to watch it all go, I'm grateful for the time that we've all been able to have together.
Did you have anything else you wanted to add before I say my last piece there?
I don't. I basically agree with MK Ultra.
Okay.
Like everything, the friendships, and yeah.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, so the last thing I think I want to say is just, again, thank you for being a part of this massive online community. Probably the biggest thing I've ever been a part of, but the only time in my years and years of gaming where people have reached out to me and asked me direct questions about something that I was doing or thought about, or asked me for direct feedback or advice or help with. And I alluded to this before, but in the past 2 years since I started this process, my life has gone through major changes, and there were times where what I needed most was to just sit down at my computer and just put a video out to get my head clear and to help somebody, because in that moment, like, helping them helped me, in some way, help me feel better or help me feel like myself for a couple minutes. And so I appreciate MK for one, for allowing that to happen. When I reached out to her frustrated one day and I was like, these dumb questions in this group are driving me crazy, can we just start answering them in a video format so we can just refer back to them? And she was like, hey, do you want to do that? That's for those of you who don't know, that's how this started. But it became something for me that was just like a focus point when I needed it. And so for everybody who's ever watched or liked or commented or any of that, I thank each and every one of you for welcoming me and helping me feel like I belong to something, which is definitely something I needed. And so that's what I think I'm going to miss the most, and that's where I'm going to stop this. So the next thing you'll hear is any other of the mod team that couldn't be part of the video that wanted to maybe say something. I'm gonna add that here to the end, and then we'll close out. But thank you all three of you for taking an hour of your time to hang out with us and have this conversation, and hang out with all the community as well. So just a final thank you to each of you.
I'll miss you, Kupo.
I'm not going
I
anywhere.
love you.
Yeah.
I'm still pretty easy to find.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still around too, and thank you again for having us here.
Absolutely.
I'll probably still be around, but I might get eaten by a lion. So, anyway.
This is why you shouldn't go to the zoo. But next you'll hear from our mods, so be right back with them.
What's up, guys? This is GL Roxas, also known as the person who used to do the weekly news review thing over on the global FFBE Facebook page. I know I already did my post last week, saying my piece as well as wishing you all the very best. But since we're doing a quick video, then I thought I would just jump in and leave a quick message as well. So yeah, it's been a great few years, 7, 8 years with you guys. And definitely there's been a lot of highs, and unfortunately there's been a lot of lows in the recent times. It's kind of a shame that the game was not run properly by the team, but it is what it is. And I guess at least we are ending off the game cycle with a very, very good unit all the way till EX3, assuming you have enough free resources. Yeah, I believe I had a great time playing the game over the past few years. Where do I start? I would say great memories. I would say my favorite trial would have been the Telphanus, or I guess, the original Tyrant trial. That was really good, but unfortunately, as Gumi does, they release one piece of content that's really good, and then they completely forget about it. We're looking at Chamber of Vengeance, we're looking at series boss battles, you know the thing. So yeah, but that particular trial, that was really good. I guess what we'll miss would be the community in general. I believe the community has been fairly supportive of each other, although we get one or two weird people. But other than that, yeah, it's great to see players come together to find strategies, budget strategies especially, when it comes to trials, when it comes to various content. I do wish that players at least got a chance to do one more final ranked event, one more Dark Visions, or one more proper Clash of Wills, but I don't think that's happening, unfortunately. So yeah, it is what it is. It's been a great ride. Thanks for the support on my weekly news reviews. You know who you are. I appreciate every single one of you. And yeah, what's coming next? I guess, well, the end of an era. There'll be many other games out there for those who are looking to play. There are really good ones out right now. The current one would be, I guess, sort of Convalaria if you're into gachas. If not, then there's Black Myth Wukong if you're into console or PC games. It's not too bad. It's not Elden Ring, but it's not bad. And yeah, I wish you all the very best. And hopefully, I'll bump into some of you guys in other games, in other forums, and maybe even on Discord or even on Reddit. So yeah, this is GL Roxas signing out.
Hey, what's up, everybody? If you see me around in Gert's videos, you've heard me go by Fabs, but it actually started out as Fabled because I needed a placeholder because I don't do very well thinking up of game names, and I decided to use Fable based off of my favorite Yu-Gi-Oh archetype ever. And that stuck, so I just left it alone. Didn't feel like changing it because then I had to tell anybody who followed my friend units in game that I was who I am. So I just left it there. And eventually, between adding my group tags and dealing with someone else in another game, it got shortened to Fabs, and that's just how I left it. So if you've seen IW Fabs, that's me if you didn't know. I don't really have a whole lot I want to say. It's just kind of tough to think that the game is ending, you know? You know the day's coming, but it sucks when it's finally here. As of recording this, there's no official word, but when you get a unit like Blade Breaker Esther, you know it's pretty much it. Anyway, I just wanted to say thank you all for being part of a community that I've just grown to love and be attached to. It's kind of weird thinking that, like many of you, found the game at a horrible point in my life and needed something to cope. And I didn't want to get into other vices, and I just generally like games. Saw you could play with some classic Final Fantasy characters and figured this will kind of occupy my mind for a while. Ended up getting like it a little bit, but what really drew me in was watching Clegg and Evil Laughter and kind of following them pretty seriously. And Clegg ended up with a group, joined his, got both of them started interacting. Was heavy into directly helping people. That led to branching into smaller groups, namely boot camp. And from there, drama. And then we ended up with Indomitable Warriors, which is where the IW comes from. So, Indomitable Warriors, not much going on over there anymore, but I still love the group all the same. And I'm glad I got to be part of everything with you all. And of course, this also applies to Global Nation and Global proper. I don't know. I miss the game because there's just not many more games that are built like this. You know, turn-based styles. Modern stuff is more action-oriented these days, so you don't really get to find too many good turn-based games that I just happen to love throughout my younger years. And FFBE kind of scratched that itch for a good while. 8 years, man. That's a hot minute. But again, all good things must come to an end, and this is ours. So, again, I just want to say thank you all very much for building a community I got to be part of. And you all are the thing I will miss most about it. Of course, I will never see or hear from most of you again. And all I can say is I wish you all well, and I just hope life plays out for the better for all of you. Unfortunately, there are a couple of people who are no longer with us, and that's unfortunate, but it was cool to get to know some of them too. Then there's some of you who I interact with on a regular basis, and I'm honestly just hoping that we can find games that we share that we can get into, and I can still keep up, you know, the thing we got going on here. But for now, until I figure life out and I find another game that really just gets me like this one, I guess I'll just be occasionally checking into Master Duel, going back to my old love of Yu-Gi-Oh! So, I don't know, hopefully you all live well, do well, be well, and hopefully I'll see some of you later. But, I don't know. Everyone, just take care.
Thank you for taking a few minutes to watch and listen to that. I really hope you will share your feedback in the comments, either on YouTube or the Facebook post where you saw this video. Once again, we won't be approving posts about the end of the game at this time, so please use the comment sections to share and respond with your feelings. As we also stated in the video, we won't be closing this group anytime soon. Even after the game ends, we'll likely leave the group open for a time so that people can maintain friendships and relationships, and we'll give you plenty of warning before anything else happens to the group. As the Mog team, we want to wish you as good a transition as possible at this time. Please be good to each other, take care, and we'll see you around.